Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen with a summary of the July-August monthly report with highlights of what the various CIG and Foundry 42 studios have been up to and are working on now. Lots of quite important updates this month. Let's start with environments. They've made substantial progress on Hurston's 4 moons, with each becoming a visually unique location for players to explore. While working on the moons, their teams have also spent time on improving the wind simulation on vegetation objects, which will breathe more life into the locations as wind moves through grass, bushes, trees. Hurston will be quite a visual change compared to other locations currently in the game. The Lorville team has moved on to other districts, shifting focus on the view of the city while flying above and around it. Lorville has received many improvements since it was first shown at CitizenCon. Work has been completed on the Persistent Universe hangars, with only final lighting tweaks left to complete the 2 archetypes needed for the first release. They focused on developing new habitation modules and security customs common elements. The habitation modules are coming out of the white box phase with their footprints, layout, modularity and basic art determined. Now begins the process of making them pretty. The security archetype involves a lot of systems and designs that must be tested and iterated on before it can be finalized. As with HABs, these issues have been largely solved and the team began the next level art pass. The early white box design of a new location type was signed off, the underground facility. These will be something the teams have not worked on before and are very excited to develop. The VFX team worked on several moons for the Persistent Universe, including various new biome types. This required them to expand the planet editor tools to allow for more unique and varied particle systems to be spawned procedurally using the object scattering systems. The procedural layout tool generations also received improvements. They took the opportunity to further polish the upcoming rest stops as well. They used the tool to generate a series of stations and verify their layouts, as well as look into transferring old functionality of Crying Astro into Tier 0 of the repair, refuel and rearm systems. They also investigated the early Tier 0 versions of habitation, refineries, subsurface content and more. They improved the look and positioning of 2D and holographic advertisements, as well as fixed various issues with light leaking and other consistency issues between connected rooms. The new transit system received attention as well, focusing on debugging capabilities of the system, laying an important piece of groundwork for complex elevator and train networks. Ships. The final pass of the Constellation Phoenix modelling and lighting is currently underway. When finished, the teams will move on to the final flight prep, setup and polishing tasks. Then they'll create the levels of detail to complete the art pass for the Phoenix. The Mustang's landing gear compression was also completed. The Tumble Cyclone variants turret operator animations were reworked and polished. The grey box pass of the F8 Lightning is also complete. It remains to be seen exactly when that will be released as a flyable ship though, the F8C anyway. They are starting work on the Anvil Hawk Light Fighter / Bounty Hunter. They've been working on some sequenced animations for vehicles, allowing greater flexibility for future entry, exit, and cockpit animations. They are deep in the concept phase of the 300 rework and are currently fleshing out the new shape along with integrating many of the wish list features that have been accumulating over the last few years based on feedback and the community and designers kind of poking it, including new cargo options. There have been a few concerns voiced about the new design, which the team will be taking into consideration for the next and final round of concept presentation. They worked on the MISC Freelancer base model by adding a few extra comforts to the interior, such as a toilet, shower and food dispenser. The variants Miss, Max and Dur went into the updated art pipeline to get them looking as good as the base version as well. The Origin 890 Jump also went into production this month. It already cleared the white box review and advanced to the grey box production stage. The Banu Defender finished its initial R&D phase and is partially through the white box phase. VFX are doing a pass on the Aegis Hammerheads effects as well. Characters and animation stuff. They've been working on new hair and head tech, which will improve the appearance of current characters and revise some core tools used in the character wearables tech setup process. They've made progress on the Hurston clothing line. The True Def Pro armor and reworked the Odyssey flight suit. Alongside that new content, material variants will be made to help fill out the NPCs found on Hurston. There's been progress as well on a variety of Squadron 42 costumes. They continue to research and develop animations for the Persistent Universe's female characters. Very different animations are needed when the character sits in a ship versus moving around in the verse, but progress is being made, and the fidelity of female animations are getting closer to those of the male characters. They have been working on the next-gen character customizer as well. They've created animations for the reload and firing states of the upcoming Kana plasma assault rifle. They held a motion capture shoot to help finalize assets for Spec Ops Combat AI. They've also used placeholder assets in the meantime to work out hit reactions and get better sights and sounds and bits and bobs. They've also improved enemy Spec Ops AI combat poses with better blending between motion states. Other tasks included supporting the carryable system with a wide range of assets and a general cleanup of the animation database. They revamped the player's no weapon and stocked locomotion forward assets as well. The actor feature team have been developing an animation motion warping system, which gives each animation a variable distance it can travel without the need for a unique asset for each situation. The vaulting and mantling mechanic is being developed alongside this and comes into play when the prop being vaulted over has a variable depth and height. The new technology takes these dimensions and modifies the vault animation so that it seamlessly adjusts for the additional movement. This creates a better result than having multiple animations to cover all eventualities. It also frees up artists from adhering to strict sizes and metrics when creating environments as well. More into the NPCs and AI front, they've been experimenting with how to make a bar feel like a living, breathing environment instead of a static NPC serving like a drinks and consuming drinks there and that sort of stuff. They want it to feel alive. The intent was to give the bartender and others enough character, life, and flexibility so they can deal with multiple patrons at once, including the player, while looking as lively and realistic as possible. They have placeholder block out animations for them at the moment that they've been using for testing. They've also fleshed out the bartender and patron line sets and began building out the AI logic in Subsumption. There are several NPCs through various stages of the pipeline as well, some new mission givers like Constantine Hurston, Clovis Darneely, and a new character of interest, Tekia Pacheco? I don't know how to say any of these names. Work was also completed for Flight AI, creating new behaviours and changing existing ones, with a focus on making ship combat engaging and fun. Work has also been done on the Flight Pathfinder, taking it a few steps closer to having AI traverse the entire verse on their own. FPS AI was focused on NPC tasks for 3.3, including new behaviors, features, and optimizations as well. They laid foundation work for combat ship AI improvements, specifically giving AI ships the awareness of an enemy tailing them. They will build on this with further maneuvers, like enabling the AI to abruptly decelerate to cause the tailing ship to overshoot or wildly change its breakaway angle to shake pursuers. Progress was also made on advanced civilian/security guard interactions and patrol behaviors, which will be implemented in future landing zones. These behaviors will work in sync with one another and will allow NPCs to react accordingly to different types of stimuli from the world around them. The behaviors are now scalable to allow for more stimuli to be added if and when needed. It will also determine how NPCs react to their surroundings, such as security guards reacting to certain crimes in one location than they would in another. So there's going to be different levels of law, and if someone does a certain crime in a certain area, that it's like you shouldn't pull a gun out in the airport sort of like security checkpoint, then there's going to be a huge amount of security guards like shooting to kill rather than someone just trying to arrest you in a different area, like in a back street. On the FPS side, they began populating Security Outpost Korea with combat NPCs. They also worked with mission and level design teams to create additional facilities fit for combat encounters. Economy stuff in an effort to allow economic status of resources affecting pricing. The team is constructing recipes for items so that as the price of resources fluctuates, the players will be able to see a noticeable difference in the pricing of items. The change won't be instant, but it will develop over time and can be influenced by the player base. It is an important part of the dynamic economy, the cost of raw materials affecting the actual price of items. Work is also happening on getting the ship rental shop working in the persistent universe to coincide with the ability to rent ships. This is what we've wanted for ages and should hopefully be in 3.3. They've implemented the support of associated customization menus and worked on the UI design for the Spectrum app in the Mobiglass. This is going to allow the purchase and rental of ships and items in Marina Commander, Star Marine, and also in the persistent universe eventually. So hopefully for 3.3. Work on additional layouts for truck stops will lend a bit more variety to the shops that players will encounter when traveling to faraway locations as well. Server and back-end services. They also continued efforts to create services using the new Ooze diffusion framework. This is part of the refactoring of the persistent cache to make it more scalable. Another accomplishment this month was finishing up the new entitlement processor service, which is far more robust and efficient than the legacy solution they previously had. The legacy friends service was also written into this new framework. The other services created so far are character service, which provides an API for character-specific runtime and persistent data. Wallet service, responsible for managing player currencies. Item loadout service, managing player or ship default and custom loadouts. Insurance service, managing all insurance claims. They've also worked very closely with feature teams to add more gameplay analytics to help track some game performance and resource consumption issues on a regional level, as well as on the individual game servers themselves. This additional data will help them tune server density to deliver the best possible compute and memory performance. Object container streaming and core tech improvements. The graphics team completed the work required to make the renderer ready for object container streaming. The network team finished the entity bind culling functionality to allow for more optimal networking based on how far entities are away from the player. They also did prep work for object container streaming alongside other teams working on that technology. They've also been adjusting the AI logic to handle the current streaming requirements as well. They progressed on moving skinning computations to GPU compute shaders and continued work on improving hair shading. They made significant progress on new solutions for cloth and volumetric simulation, which they hope to show off soon. They added support for the object container streaming entity aggregates and exposed GPU load and memory stats directly from the Windows graphics system. They also made advancements in the physics system refactor and revamped the exception handling code to improve consistency of reported crashes. Slightly more into the graphics-y stuff, they updated shaders for 3.3 and 3.4, which was going to give us various benefits to the game in those patches. They've also improved the room culling system to allow for more complex level setups of rooms within rooms. This feature allows the art team to build more elaborate interiors in both Squadron 42 and the persistent universe with improved performance. The next focus will be on features to enhance the quality of lighting in and around gas clouds and large interior spaces, where large lights would normally result in very low shadow resolution. The next iteration of the group system is being worked on for 3.3. For voice over IP and face over IP, the background team collaborated with UK Audio to build voice services in-game. They overcame a huge hurdle by successfully piecing together a prototype with one user in-game having a conversation with another on a web platform interface. They are working on additional turret improvements for 3.3. They continued to work on the ping and scanning mechanics, including moving the scanning infrastructure over to servers, generating signals via black box entities, and implementing the various information that will be provided by transponders. They've focused on removing some of the legacy systems, updating the 3-pane Mobiglass chat widget, and setting up the chat to come from the new backend services. The UI team further developed the render to texture tech item preview system that allows for a generalized method of displaying one or more 3D items anywhere in the UI. This works on things like kiosks, Mobiglass, MFDs, and more. They've pre-visualized what approaching a no-fly zone might look like to the players. Mining gameplay will see some improvements as well. They're working on the UI to make it more featureful and better for the system. Squadron 42 stuff. The story team pre-vised all remaining scheduled scenes. They began to fully implement 16 scenes the design team prioritized for Q3. The implementation pass is a slower process than previs, but the team is delighted to work closely with design and see the scenes actually come to life in game. A high-level review assessed the implementation of animations for Squadron 42 scenes, including Master at Arms Duncan Chakma in the armory, They worked on cinematic simulation assets such as rigid and soft bodies for Squadron 42 cinematics as well. The weapon art team primarily focused on Vandal weaponry and finished the first pass of both modelling and texturing on the Plasma Lancers, as well as a handful of scavenged knife variants. Spectrum. So Spectrum 3.8 and 3.8.1 were deployed and contained various features: friends, notifications, quick access sidebar, and a message of the day. You can sort friends by status or alphabetically and see information about their activity. You can also group friends by common orgs, including pending friend requests. You can now have a maximum of 800 friends at the moment. Your in-game friends will be linked to your Spectrum friends in the future. Currently, your Spectrum friends list and the list of your friends in-game exist independently. When the game integrates the Spectrum friends list, your in-game contracts will not be copied over, but once this is done, when you add them in either, then they'll both appear on the other. And that's basically it for this month from the monthly report. It's worth watching my summary on Chris Roberts' letter from the chairman and Q&A he did on RTV, Reverse the Verse, recently, as there is a huge amount of information that will put this monthly report in a bit more context, as well as addressing issues like pay to win, video content, and future releases. But please share your thoughts down below and feel free to ask any questions. Every month we have a giveaway. For August, it's for a Saber Raven. All you need to do is be subscribed to my YouTube channel and comment on any of my videos during the month for a chance to win. A huge thank you to my Patreons whose continued support helps me run the channel. More regularly starting this month, there will be exclusive content, early videos, polls, and ways to influence the channels for both my Patreons and something new to YouTube, channel memberships and subscriptions. It is another way to support creators, giving viewers more options, as well as giving them some emotes and badges. I'll be normalizing appropriate rewards between Patreon and the channel membership service where I can, so fans wanting to provide greater support won't lose out whatever medium they choose. Thank you so much for your continued support, guys, and for watching. Please take care, and I'll see you in the verse.